All right, what's going on, guys? We're back. We're getting right back into the engine. Today we're gonna try and get it painted. Let's give it a quick look before we start getting it cleaned up and masked off. So in the last video, we got the heads bolted down, torqued down, got the oil pan taken care of, got the covers both put on. And because I was bored, I decided to set the intake manifold on, the valley plate on, which is actually not even bolted, and the valve covers. This valve cover was covered in tape, so there's still some residue and stuff on it. But I couldn't resist. I wanted to see what it looked like bolted together a little bit more complete. And man, it's looking pretty good, I have to say. Knowing what this motor looked like when I first got it, this is pretty dramatic difference here. But after we get it painted up, it'll look even better. So I'm gonna get you guys set up on the tripod, take off these parts that don't need to be on here and get it masked off. And then once it's masked, we're gonna clean it and start painting. Let's get to it. All right, so ignore my bench being a little bit messy here, but we're going to work on trunnion upgrade. So you can see I got stock rockers back here. I've cleaned them up. I actually got an ultrasonic, ran them through there, I think just once, but they're still assembled. So I'm probably gonna run them again after I take the stock rollers out. But I went with the comp trunnion upgrade, which is right here. It's still a needle bearing, but it has a C-clip that holds them in place. So there's a little bit less worry about them coming apart and scattering into the motor. There's a lot of debate over the bushing style, like the CHE, or the needle style, like the comps. The comps were a little bit less expensive. I was able to get my hands on them quicker, and I have experience with them. So I just went with that. I was gonna go CHE, but again, more money, nobody has them right now, and we wanna keep this thing going. So what I'm gonna do now is press out all the stock ones and get ready to start putting these into the rockers. Let's get you guys set up and let's go. Okay, I didn't show you guys putting these into the parts washer, but here they are out of the parts washer. I shouldn't say parts washer. Here they are out of the ultrasonic cleaner. They look pretty good. Let's take one here and give it a look. I think I'm gonna spray them with a little bit of brake clean and wipe them off. Mostly because, as you can tell, it's pretty dirty in there at this point. I've run a lot of stuff through there, and these things started off real trashed. So I'm gonna get these things a quick wipe down, and then we can start assembling them with the comp trunnion upgrade. Well, I don't think I had you guys set up very well on that last shot when I was pressing in the trunnion pieces. Hopefully it turns out okay. But now I have to put all the snap rings on both ends. And I figured I'd set you guys up and show you that. For anyone who was wondering, that block that was underneath them, which is probably all you could actually see when I was doing that video or that clip, was a tool I made years and years ago, the last time I had to do these trunnions on another car I was working on. Now the kit comes with 2 washers. Comes with these 2 washers, which are thick enough for this to pass through it. It's actually not even flush with that. But they did not have that the last time I did it, so I had to make that little piece of steel to kind of support it out here and give room for this to pass through. Since I had it and the way my press is set up, it was easier for me to use that to hold it and then just do the washer on top. In the beginning I was using both washers because I wasn't really thinking it through. I really only needed the one, so once I started doing it with the one, it went easier. I also am using a hydraulic press, which is way overkill, but I was doing it by hand for almost all of it, so if it bound up at all, I felt it right away, could stop and then loosen it up and move things around. Normally you could just do this with an arbor press, but I don't have an arbor press. So let's get these snap rings on. Okay, well that's done. That is the most tedious pain in the ass part of this whole process. By the way, these things are pretty cool because they're like a one set does it all. They'll do internal or external. So you can see they squeeze in or they squeeze out. But because of that, they're real wide. Luckily I have big hands, but even still, it was kind of a pain. But anyways, it's done now. So now I'm going to get 2 of these on, just the number 1 cylinder, and I'm gonna pull off the springs that are in there and put on some checker springs so I could check for push rod length. I know everybody says just run 740 on LS motors, but I've had a little bit of work done on the heads, as you guys have seen, so I'd rather just check it and be sure, or get the right length, whatever it ends up being. So let's move you over to the motor and start doing all that. Okay, now that we have the 2 springs on intake and exhaust, we got the push rod length checker here. I'm going to double check it, but I'm going to start off maybe at 7.3, put everything together, and then see where we're at with that. I'm guessing I'm going to be, I feel like it's going to be a little bit lower than 7.4, but we're going to find out. So we're going to start at 7.3, see where that gets us. So let me get this adjusted, and then I'll put everything in with a rocker and we'll see what it looks like. I got no wiggle there, so I'm actually gonna go down a little bit, which would be 7.25, and see where that gets us. I got a little bit of tick there. So I think it's gonna be 7.3 is what I'm looking at. I mean, I'm gonna actually check it with a feeler gauge, but that's not too much right there. Well, it's bigger than 030. So I think, like I said, I probably am just going to go 730 on these. Let me check the exhaust real quick and see what that looks like. So we still got the same kind of wiggle. We're still at 725. So I'm going to take it to 730 and see where we're at. No wiggle at 730. So I'm gonna double check my measurement, double check my math, everything like that. Make sure I'm reading right, that this should have basically no wiggle. And then I'm gonna order a push rod. Okay, we're gonna move on to the throttle body now. This is something I've gone back and forth with a lot. This is an LS6 throttle body that came on my intake manifold. It was trashed when I got it. All the passages were packed with a bunch of sand and dirt and stuff. But I got a ultrasonic cleaner, which you could see just out of frame here. And I ran it through a couple times, and it looks pretty good to me. Everything came out really clean. I ran the blade through as well. So I think for now, because of budget and everything else, I'm gonna run this guy. I have new hardware, of course, because I'm crazy. This is all from ICT Billet. I have the original hardware in here just in case this doesn't have something I need. And I have a new throttle position sensor and idle air control valve. The old ones are in here. So I am gonna assemble this all together with the new parts. I'm gonna take out these tubes. This one's broke for, I think coolant runs through there. And this one obviously gets a little bit of air from the intake manifold. So I don't know if I'm gonna cap this or run a line on it or what I'm gonna do yet, but for now this one stays. But these ones are coming off. This is just coolant and they're broke and rotted out anyway. So let's get to it. Okay, got that out. I don't know why I even bothered. It doesn't do anything, but it was bugging me, especially that it wouldn't come out. But both of them are out now. There was a bunch of shit inside, as you can see, rust and stuff. So let's go on with the assembly. Okay, so I'm gonna have to reuse these little sensor screws like these guys and these ones on the blade. I'm gonna blue Loctite them just to be on the safe side. I don't want any of this vibrating loose and coming apart into my motor. Just want to give you guys a heads up what's going on. Let's get back to it. Alright guys, it's been a few days since I was working out here last. I think the last thing I showed you, I was getting the throttle body back together, so I got my new sensors on here, blades back in it, everything's good there. So that's all done. I went to put it on the intake manifold, and it turns out I had the wrong throttle body gasket. I ordered a new one. They sent me different part number, exact same gasket, so I still have to sort that out. Then I went to do my map sensor. I had a 0-1. I got my push rods measured and ordered from Motion Racework. They're Texas Speed push rods. I got an air system that I'm going to be doing instead of CO2. Drive shaft parts, coolant bypass, starter bolts. That's the gasket for the new trans pan. I'll tell you why I have to replace that at some point. All this is and fittings, adapters, weld fittings, and hose. This is, I've had this, but this is my ECU and boost controller. Battery box, shut off. Those are fittings I've had. Another set of spark plugs, push lock fittings from Motion Raceworks, hose, new power steering pulley, ARP crank bolt. I'm still waiting on the ATI damper. This is pretty much everything I need to actually get the car finished. Obviously, it's still a lot of work, and I do also have boxes of parts over here that I'm not going to show you right now, but also to get the car done. But pretty excited. I'm going to actually be able to get this thing wrapped up pretty soon. You can see I did a little bit of stuff to the motor. I got some of the sensors are in. I got my oil adapter on. Got the Motion Raceworks pointer. Here's that ARP bolt is just set in there for now. So right now I'm going to put the push rods in and then start getting the motor kind of closed up. Okay, push rods are all in. Just as I was finishing that up, I got a delivery of my ATI damper. That's the box that you see over there. So we're gonna get the flex plate back on. Then I'm gonna come around and do the damper finally. And then I'm gonna put all the front accessories on and we'll keep going. Okay, we're gonna end it off there. I need to get a couple of things from the parts store, but they're already closed for the day, so we'll pick back up on the next episode. I'll finish putting all the front accessories on. I should actually mention, I didn't really record putting the damper on, and that's because I had a little bit of trouble putting it on. Then I thought I had it wrong, so I went and got a tool to take it off. Put it back on again, forgot to do some stuff. It's a long story. Basically, read the instructions when you get these parts. They do help quite a lot, and you don't waste a whole bunch of time like I did. But anyways, damper's on. I'll do the front accessories on the next one. Flex plate is on, so the back of the motor is all taken care of. And we're gonna kind of quickly get this motor buttoned up 100%, and then we're gonna move on to some of the better stuff, fabricating, all the plumbing. We're gonna fabricate the puke tank, all that good stuff. So stay tuned, subscribe, like, comment, all that stuff, and we'll see you in the next one.